Today we're talking Dark Winds, Season 4, Episode 1. Welcome to Screens in Focus, the podcast where we talk about TV and movies. I'm Diana. Renee is here. Hi, Renee. How are you?
Hello, I'm here and I'm so excited for this season of Dark Winds. I can't wait.
I know. And we're off to an amazing start. And I cannot wait to dig in with you, but I do want to pose the question of the day to you now and to our friends out there before we begin. So, question of the day is, do you think Leaphorn is truly ready to walk away from this role? Mm-hmm. So we are going to break down Leaphorn and everyone else, and then we'll come back to this and I'll get your take on it. And friends out there, you think about that too. But man, this episode, it started off with a bang for sure. Yeah. And so it introduces a missing girl case that brings dangers and threats to the reservation. Meanwhile, Leaphorn makes a shocking decision to retire and ask Bernadette to take his place, setting up major emotional and leadership shifts possibly. So what did you think of this season premiere?
I love the music in the episode. That's always something with me. A good music, man, just makes the movie, the show, anything just that much better. So that was great. The opening scene, like you said, I feel like it's setting the pace for what's to come. Overall, I think it's a very strong beginning, and we got to see almost all of the key players besides Emma and what they're up to, even though we learned she is in LA or whatever and that kind of thing. But at least we got to see people and get caught up, like what's been going on. So yeah, and of course, we got to see Linda Hamilton's cameo, which I thought was really cool, especially because she was just in Stranger Things. Yeah. And so I thought that was awesome to see her in this other role. Yeah.
She has been in different shows and series. She was in Resident Alien. She was in Stranger Things, and she was in one other thing. Now it's going to drive me crazy what that is. And then here she came up again. I thought, oh, what a great role for her to portray. Yeah. So yes, I agree with you on all those points. And I thought it was such a strong, emotional premiere. It was reflective, it was spiritual, and it immediately raises stakes, this missing girl and this violent outsider. And I love how it starts off with the crime or what we see, and then it goes back. But what was interesting in this was that it gave us some resolution or catching up to what we saw in the first episode, because sometimes we have to wait until the ending or further on down the line. So I thought that was such a great way to start the episode. And of course, we see all the main characters here, which I love, and setting up some new things. And of course, you and I had talked about on the finale of season 3 about what this would mean for Leaphorn, what his relationship with Emma would bring, and we're seeing that in episode 1. So I just thought it was such a great episode. I do want to mention my husband does watch this with me, and even before we watch it, he was so excited to see the series. And we had seen the finale the day before to prep for this one. Yeah. And he says, I just love this series. And so I love that he loves it too. So I get someone to watch it with me, which is a lot of fun. Yeah. What were some of the highlights for you?
You know, Joe, just seeing how sad he is without Emma, and they suffered the loss of their son and had to deal with that for all these years, but they were slowly starting to heal from that. And then the recent events and everything, and that pain resurfaced with Joe going and killing BJ Vines and doing these things. It just brought everything back to the surface for both of them, I think. And so it was just really hard watching him. I guess on one hand, I thought it was so hard to watch him. And I'm glad we didn't have to see Emma this episode either, because I think it would have been that much more emotional for the viewer. Let us see little bits of it. But it was just hard to see him in where he's at and just alone. And then they show the picture of the two of them on his sitting there. He looks at that all the time. So yeah, it was really tough to see that.
I couldn't agree more. Joe, to me, is one of the highlights watching him. He just draws me in. So I really appreciate everything that when he's the spotlight of everything. And I also love seeing him work with Chee and also the way he works with Bernadette too. I just love all those interactions. You had mentioned that the music was a highlight, and it is definitely a highlight for me. Also, the whole 70s vibe. It just reminds you, get thrust back into it. Do you know, I forgot they were in Arizona. I kept thinking they were in New Mexico because that's where they film. And so I kept noticing everything said Arizona. The van at the beginning said Arizona. When he pulls up in his GMC truck, it says Arizona. You see Arizona t-shirt on Bernadette. I'm like, Arizona, Arizona. Why do I keep seeing this? I'm like, oh yeah, that's where they're at. That's why they're so close to Los Angeles. But I forgot. I kept thinking that they were in New Mexico for some reason. But just watching all of that and just that whole atmosphere and just getting back into all of that is such a highlight.
Yeah, and it's just like Joe's retirement announcement. That was like, it was a highlight because it was like shocking for number one, but then everything that came, you know, like him talking to Bernadette and saying, hey, you know, and that's going to be pivotal and it's going to mean a lot in this season, what all happens with that position and everything. And so it was quite a shock to see that to learn that. And another highlight, of course, was like into the story was when we finally see Bernadette go back to work, which we knew she would, but it was like, yes, she did it. Because I didn't know, maybe it'll take a few episodes before something will happen and come around. So I was really glad to see that happen in this episode because we know that's what she's going to do. So I thought that was pretty cool.
And it was amazing to see that they are finally together, both Bernadette and Chee. I'm like, oh my gosh. What's funny, this is season 4. It's taken them that long to actually get together, which is amazing because we saw them stumble their way in season 1 and then season 2 and then season 3 she's with someone else. And so it's just so good. The way we saw the finale again with them, her returning and them giving each other those looks, and it's okay. We understand what happened between those looks and now with her smacking him on the butt. Too. Yeah.
And I thought it was funny when she does come back to work and they're all like all business and everything. And all the other employers are like, you guys buying this? No, nobody's calling for it. They already know.
That's so funny.
I thought that was pretty clever.
No, that was so funny.
And another highlight, back to Linda Hamilton, her cameo was actually a tribute to her mother who had dementia for 25 years. So I thought that was really cool that she got to do that, to honor her mother, to just shed light onto that subject because lots of people deal with that. It's very difficult, but what a neat thing for her to be able to do that. So I thought that was just worth mentioning because it was just really, I don't know, just heartwarming, I guess.
I know. I thought that was so special too. I'd read that also. But I thought how difficult that must have been to do that. I don't even know how she kept her composure. I would have been bawling if that was my mom and I had to portray. The moment that she did something that reminded her of her mother, I just would have been like a basket case. But she played it really well too. And I thought it was tough, and but she was so cute too. Like in a way, I thought the way she held her purse and her outfit. So I thought that was a really special moment. I do want to go all the way back to the beginning because I thought that the opening sequence was so good because you see this van, you don't know what's going to happen. Is somebody going to get kidnapped? Because it always looks so mysterious, right? And when I watched it the second time, I realized that this assassin had opened up like a curtain or whatever it was and had this wall of guns in her van. I mean, that is crazy. She has it set up, which makes me think, oh my gosh, we're on another level here when we have an assassin looking for people. And that opening scene was so violent, but I was like in it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then it comes back where we see at the very end where we see them all, Joe and Bern and Chee, all go in and see the devastation and what has happened there. The only thing I was so amazed about that it was dark by the time that they got there because it was daylight when they all left. I thought, where the heck is this diner that it took you so long to get there? But
another thing with the diner scene that it reminded me of the scene in Fargo, that's like the series like that. And that's where Zahn McClarnon was actually in that season of Fargo.
That's right.
Because I thought about that scene, and a little bit later I went, wait a minute, and I Googled it. I was like, he was in that. So that was the season he was in. So I thought that was cool.
I love that. I love that correlation, Renee. That's awesome. Since we're talking about the diner and everybody there, and I love the waitress and the cook. I felt so bad.
I know, it's so
I
sad.
know. And he's all, I compliment you all the time. You have the best looking ears, or whatever he tells her. But could you just answer that phone?
It was just such a good repertoire between them. You could tell they just worked together forever. They were just good friends and
Yes.
picked on each other all the time, and then they're dead. I'm like, oh no.
Maybe.
Yeah, that was really sad.
Yeah, the relationship. Yeah, it was just really nice to see. And I kept thinking, what a role that it's short lived, but it felt so lived in, like a history there. I thought, what great performances by these characters that weren't in it
Yeah.
very long, but they did such a phenomenal job. I think that's what I love so much about Dark Winds. It's like everybody, no matter how large or how small the role is, so good at what they do.
Yeah, and that goes to the writers
Yeah.
that they can do that so well, that they can have that written, you know, however it was written on the script or whatever, to show that yes, they have a history, and that, and like you said, we got that in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
You know, we understood that.
Yeah.
You know, and so just all the actors, the writers, everything. It's just phenomenal how they do that and work so well together.
Yeah. So the characters here, because we love them so much, I want to know who stood out to you and what you thought about it this episode.
Well, of course, Joe, you know, and he's still struggling. He's trying to do his thing, trying to figure out what to do or what his role is now. I mean, this is very different. He's been married for how long? And the showrunner, he confirmed that they were not divorced. They're just separated at the moment. He also confirmed that he believes that the showrunner believes Joe can change for her, but that Emma needs him to change for himself first. And I thought that was really interesting, because that's going to be important to her, that he does this not only for her, but for himself, because it has to be genuine. It has to be something he wants to do, not just for her. And so I thought that was really interesting. And as we progress, I'm excited to see what will happen next. I'm nervous that they won't get a resolution or something, you know, because they need to be back together, but it has to be difficult. So just Joe, just very worried about their relationship.
It's when they talked about it, when he would talk about it, it felt like it was final in a way. The way they addressed it, I didn't like it. Like I'm like, what are you talking about? No, you guys are getting back together. You're just like away from each other for a month, or or whatever. At least that's what I was. I was like not accepting it. I felt like their kid. No, mom and dad are not getting a divorce.
This isn't happening.
This isn't happening. They're staying together. So it did affect me, and I was surprised. I was surprised how I was feeling. I felt so bad for Joe, but then I kept trying to put myself in Emma's shoes. I tried because I'm a big Joe fan. And so I thought, okay, she doesn't like that he let someone die, no matter if he was going to get away with something. Because probably in her eyes, it was like he would get his somehow. Somehow he would get it. Like it would come back to hurt him somehow, or like karma or anything else. That's what she probably felt. And it's like, you didn't need to intervene and help it along, because then that reflects on you and what could happen to you. You're just like when she said, you're bringing that ghost into our house now. And so, plus I think that just one, that he did it, two, that she didn't recognize him anymore, and three, that what does this do for him? But I still felt sorry for him. And I'm like, no, Joe. And like I had said earlier, I could just watch Joe. Like those were my favorite scenes. There is a montage of him, and he's not even saying anything, and I am gripped to the screen. Like his daily life is like mesmerizing. He's tying his hair, he's gardening, he's in the sweat lodge, and he's feeling Emma's absence, and I am feeling it for him, all while the song is playing that that we enjoy a lot and appreciate the music. And I just think Zon McClarnon, just his performance, I was really upset that he didn't get an Emmy nomination because I truly think he deserved it. There was no dialogue, and he can just exist, and I am gripped. So I just think he's phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was impactful for sure. And then, of course, Bern and Chee, like we talked, we're glad they're together now, finally, and we're seeing that. But you can tell it's it's that awkward early stages, and they're still trying to get a feel for one another. And they're both coming off of traumas and all this that happened in the last season. So they're trying to build this relationship, but then also deal with that. Individually, they have things going on that they need to deal with. So it's awkward a little, which it sometimes is in the beginning. And then I keep thinking about what's going to happen when she finds out that Joe wants Bernadette to take over his position. Is that going to cause some problems in their relationship? Is that going to cause, competition between that, or what? I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. And maybe he'll just be really happy for her. He really does love her. You can tell. He just isn't. I feel like doesn't know how to show it so much. They're just learning to, even though they like each other a lot and things, they're still learning a lot. So maybe he'll just be completely happy for her and proud that she's getting this promotion.
Yeah. I know that was interesting to watch him, and you are right. Like, how is that? And she asked him, I don't want it to be like a competition between us. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I did see like a look ahead or whatever it is. And I think that there's some PTSD. Of course, we know that she has experienced it, but I think there's going to be something with him too, and that she's going to help him go get through that. So I'm curious to see, that'll be something new that they're introducing that we haven't thought about. And so I'll be interested to see how their relationship goes through that. So it'll be good to see that. Yeah.
And the other, Gordo and his wife, Barbara, it's sad to see their situation and everything, but I just love Gordo and Joe's friendship, and that they're always honest with each other sometimes, but they understand that they're not trying to hurt one another or anything like that. But I loved just that little conversation. Was very short about Joe telling him to not give up on his wife when she needs him. And I know in his mind, he's thinking, I wish I had my wife here to take care of and stuff. So she's trying to remind him of that. And then I also just like A. Martinez, he's such a great actor, but he does this role so well, but yet he doesn't overshadow Joe. He does it so well so that he's not he's a main character, but he's also secondary to like the main character. You know what I mean? He's just so good in his role as Joe's good friend, and his acting could overshadow him. Maybe, I don't know. They're both really good actors, but he just keeps it toned down, and it's still impactful, and it's still, you just love Gordo and want good things for him, and so I just really love that, and just their interactions together.
I love it too. I think maybe in season 1, season 2, were they just a little bit like kind of at odds? I'm trying to recall.
There was some, and I don't remember what it was, but there was a little bit of friction, I believe.
And it could have been their roles, because Joe being inside working on Navajo reservation and where he's at, and I think Gordo's on the other side of that, on the outside. So there might have been a little bit of that, but no, in the last couple seasons, because he was really there for Joe last season, and here, you can tell they're both support each other, loyal, that they've known each other a long time, especially with the wife bringing up his dad his dad, right?
She thought that Joe was his dad.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And there's a long friendship there, a long relationship, some history. So it was really nice to see all that. Okay, this is outside of this conversation, but with you saying how A. Martinez was doing such a good role, but it wasn't big, shiny, bright, hey, look at me. It was more subtle. That reminded me of One Battle After Another. I don't know if you've seen it yet, with Leonardo DiCaprio. And it's up for Oscar nominations. But the reason I'm bringing it up is so many of them are nominated. And Benicio del Toro plays a very relaxed, cool guy. He is so good. And when I was watching it, I thought, oh my gosh, he's playing this role so well. And then he gets nominated. I didn't think he would because it was so like laid back. I didn't know that other people would recognize that. They did.
That's
But that
awesome.
reminds me of this type of role. So not every role has to be big and bold and bright and shiny. It's no, there's a lot of subtle, really good performances that people give. I love that you brought that up and recognized that. So that's just really cool. What about that conversation between Leaphorn and Bernadette when he goes to tell her that he's going to retire and he wants her to take his place?
I think she had shock on top of shock. She was like, "You're doing what? And now you want me to what? I haven't even gone back to work yet. I haven't even said I'm going back to work." And he's like, he knows she's got everybody. We all knew. But yeah, just trying to wrap her head around all this new stuff, new change. And then now this is dumped on her lap. And I think besides whoever he turned that into, I don't think anybody else knows, right? I mean, I think it's just, so. It's her and him, and then whoever that, his superior that he was.
And then his mom. That
yeah. Oh yes. Then he does tell his mom. Yeah. But yeah, that's a lot of information for her to keep under her hat and be like, okay, I know all this stuff, but I can't tell anyone yet. And yeah, I was surprised. Of course, the retirement, I was surprised just because he can't retire. Right. But anyway, but yeah. But then, what an honor for her, especially if you think about it, in the 70s, women didn't hold these roles. And it was not a woman's world at all, like not even close. And so, yeah, so I think it's really cool that they've done this. And I guess I haven't read the book, so I don't know if that's how things were in the book, or I don't know how it, went. But yeah, I thought it was like, for her, it was just a double shock. And now she's got to process all this. But I think it maybe helped her make the decision to go back into work because she knows she can do this job, and she does have what it takes. I believe she can do a very good job.
I do too. I really enjoyed the scene with both of them. I thought it was super special. One, because Zahn was just, again, I could just watch him and the way he talks to her, the way that he smiles at her. It's like, you could do this. I know you could do this. At first she's just, oh my gosh, there's no way I could do this. But Chee's there and I haven't been there. And but no, we need you because you understand the land and the spirituality and the people. And it's not just police work. And that's where you fit in, which later on we're able to see how that works beautifully when she goes to find out the information that she needs to find out. So it totally makes sense and is validated. But I just love the interaction between those two. And I think also because he was like a father figure to her. They helped her. So I think he's proud of her too. And of course he's going to pick her. I mean, he loves working with Chee. He knows that Chee is smart and they work really well together. But I think Bernadette and Joe have a really special relationship. And so I love seeing her go through those emotions at first. What? Like, no, I can't do this. Oh, wait, you mean you think I can do this? And then she got excited. You could see that excitement behind her eyes. Like you said, women don't normally do these roles. And now I get to possibly do this. You think I could? And then when she does return, she's right in there. Like she is just, I need to go do this. And of course, Joe sees the value of that and says, yeah, go do it. So I loved seeing the exchange between them too.
Yeah. And Billy and Albert, what in the world is going on with these two? It's like, okay, we see this. And of course we think first he's kidnapped her or done something, whatever. And then you find out that's her cousin. Yeah. What's he doing? And who's Leroy? And why is this lady shooting him? And why? There's just too many questions with that relationship. I don't know what's going on, but I'm very excited to find out because this lady, like you said, she means business. She's not messing around. I don't know why she's trying to kill out. It seems like she's just trying to kill Albert. I don't know that she's trying to kill Billy, but maybe she would just because she's with him or something.
I wasn't sure at first. And I watched this 3 times. Okay. Twice on purpose. The third time it was on again. So I watched it again, but I turned up the volume. I didn't hear that much, but what I want to say is I turned up the volume, and when she goes into the diner and he comes up behind the counter and has his hands raised, and then she shuts the door and then their voices become muffled so you can't hear as well. But I did hear him say, or her say, that's not your milkshake. So that keyed
Mm-hmm.
me in as, oh, she's not after him specifically. She's after Billy. So Billy
Okay.
must see or so, because why would they bring up the milkshake? Or why would they say, oh, there's another person? Unless, I don't know who Leroy is either. At first I thought Leroy was
Yeah.
his brother, maybe his brother, because he said
Mhm.
the grandfather said, my sister took him and his brother. So then I thought maybe
Mhm.
Leroy's the brother, but then I don't
Yeah.
know. We don't know who everybody is. So we're all speculating here.
Yeah.
But I did hear her say something about that wasn't your milkshake or something like that.
Yeah, and I thought I heard something about the milkshake, but I didn't go back to heard something, and all I heard was milkshake. I'm
Yeah.
like, to me, I just was like, oh, didn't pay attention. So
Yeah.
it's good you did. But I wonder what she's been at this boarding school and stuff. So like,
Yeah.
what the heck would she? Yeah. So wow, that's interesting. Huh? Makes it even more layer
I
on this
know.
story. But yeah, it's exciting to see what the heck's going on. It's not a missing person. Okay, we know that now. She's not like, I mean, she
Right.
obviously ran away from there, but we know where she
Yeah.
is, that kind of thing. But yeah, so it's really like this Albert, evidently, if he comes back, but he's been gone. So why is he back? If he didn't even, he wasn't living there. So maybe Leroy is his brother or something. Maybe, I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah. Excited to find
And
out.
I think Billy is the key somehow, or
Mhm.
he came back, yeah, for Leroy or for her. Maybe she has something, she knows something that can help him.
Mhm.
But then, of course, it's going to bring in all the other people in Los Angeles
Yeah.
and for someone to hire a hitman, that's
Mhm.
some money. So there is something
Mhm.
that is bigger that
Yeah.
is brewing here that
Mhm. Yeah, for
we'll have to
sure.
see. So it's
Mhm.
not like she's kidnapped. She's just
Mhm.
missing because they don't know where she's at, but she knows where she's
Mhm.
at. And she's helping her cousin figure it out for some reason. Yeah, I just can't wait to see how it all
Mhm.
unfolds. And we're going to be heading to a new city. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So, were there any themes or cultural references that stood out to you in this episode?
As I mentioned in the beginning, the music, of course, always love, but I love that they use Bad Company Seagull through Joe's montage, kind of just like you said, kind of mesmerized us all watching him day to day
Yeah.
things with no dialogue, with this song is playing. And I looked at the lyrics because I knew there was something that kind of stood out to me. And it said, here's a man asking a question. Is this really the end of the world? And it's not the end of the world, but just the end of his world as it was, kind of thing. So I just thought it was kind of, the lyrics were very fitting for what he was experiencing. And I'm glad they used that song. It would just seem to fit really well with the acoustic guitar and stuff like that. It just seemed to fit really well. And that song, I never really knew it, but I had recently heard it because in 2025, there was a Bad Company tribute album, and Joe Elliott and Phil Collin of Def Leppard sang that on the tribute album.
Ah,
So I had heard it, and I was like, wait a minute, I know that. How do I know the song? Because it's not one of their real popular ones, I don't
yeah.
think. But yeah. So anyway, I really loved that inclusion of that song.
Sometimes people find the best songs and share them. And I love it because how would we ever get to revisit songs, listen to
Mhm.
them? I loved it. I didn't know this one. And
Mhm.
when it played, I just popped up. I'm like, this song. And when you got song with Zon McClarnon playing Joe here, I was like, oh, this is awesome.
She's
But
like,
yeah,
everything I
yeah,
love, yep, it's all right here.
exactly. And it reminded me of The Walking Dead in the way that
Mm.
they used music. And all of a sudden
Mhm.
I would go try to find the music because I had to know where this came from and who sang it. And some of those
Mhm.
songs have become some of my favorite pieces of music. And so I
Mhm.
loved it here. And sorry, I'm going to bring in something else, but we watch Stranger Things, right? And we see Prince, people that don't know Prince. There are
Exactly.
people that don't know Prince, okay?
I have no idea how, but okay.
And that whole song,
Mhm.
both songs got this resurgent, plus other songs too,
Yeah, there were
Landslide
so
and
many
other
good songs.
songs too. Yeah. And David Bowie's Heroes, just everything
Yeah.
had all this resurgence because of hearing it on this big, huge series. But it was
Mhm.
so cool to hear that song.
Mhm.
So I just love music, and I know you do too. And a plug for our other podcasts that we've done on music. Renee and
Yep.
I love music. Anytime we get to talk about it, we will. Were there any other themes that stood out to you?
I like, again, back to Joe's. I could have just watched that beginning. They could have just stopped the episode. I've been like, that was a great episode. So I just like to see him returning to his Navajo
Oh,
traditions with the
yeah.
sweat lodge and the different things. I don't remember the Navajo word, but he was seeking balance and harmony. And he's doing that on a personal level, but also for his marriage.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was really interesting to see those traditions and things. I love that they integrate that in, because how else would we know? I wouldn't have known any of these things, or you've heard of them maybe, or this or that, but to see them played out, I just like that they honor those traditions in the writing and showing us that. And so I thought that was just really neat to include that.
I have that too. I have identity and grounding, rituals,
Mm-hmm.
nature, and connection to land to help guide you and center
Mm-hmm.
them. I mean, we see that with Joe definitely, and I
Mm-hmm.
love seeing it. That's what makes the show for me too. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many. It's everything all together, really. But yeah, there's just something about seeing that and connecting. I just love the whole family life. I like seeing Bernadette because she does that too when she's watching the sunset or sunrise. Now I can't even
Mm-hmm.
remember what time
Yeah.
of day it was. It might have been the sunrise. And sprinkling something she has in a pouch, I
Mm-hmm.
think. But yeah, something about it just feels very
Mm-hmm.
grounding. And so I appreciate seeing that too. I also think that spirituality and law enforcement, it's like in here, you can't separate culture from the job there. It really is so tied to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I think, yes, Bernadette should be the one he passes the
Mm-hmm.
torch to. Not that she can't do it. She could do an
Mm-hmm.
excellent job, but then he would have to go check in with other people to figure out specifics.
Right. She's been there. He left for the while.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
gone and then came back, but she is so integrated into the
Yeah.
community, and they know her and they trust
Right.
her. So yeah, sure, she'll be, law enforcement, but at the same time she understands the spiritual side better, just because she's always been there,
Yeah.
and she just grew up that way and everything. So yeah, I agree. I think he would be way more analytical about things. He would still keep that, he would try to do that, but like you said, he doesn't have quite the connection, I guess, that she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think another thing this episode, it sheds light on the indigenous the boarding schools and
Yeah.
things that's so there's that. It's called the crisis is actually called missing and murdered indigenous women, and it's an ongoing thing.
I
So
know.
I mean, like, it sheds light onto that, which is important because it's awful.
It is.
These being trafficked, they're being all this stuff, and it's just horrible. So it's good that they shed light on, because a lot of people may not know about
Yeah.
it, and that obviously this was the 70s, but it has not stopped.
Oh, that's such a good point to bring up. Yeah, and that's why I like watching these shows, because you learn through
Mm-hmm.
watching all of this. I've had so many people say who don't watch TV and movies, like, or even when I was growing up, why do you watch so much TV and movies? Because I learned so
Yeah.
much. Really, you do. You're just exposed to so
Mm-hmm.
many things that don't pertain to maybe your daily life, but you can
Mm-hmm.
learn through others. So I love it.
Yeah.
A few things worth mentioning. You had talked about Linda Hamilton's, but in case people, again, don't know, she's from Terminator. She's Sarah Connor. So,
She's an
yeah,
icon.
she's an icon. So, for people who may not know who she is, because they might have just thought, oh,
Mhm.
she's
Right.
some guy's wife there. I don't know who that is. So, that's who she is. Robert Redford was noted as executive producer at the beginning. And of course, it caught my eye, and
Mhm.
it always does. During the opening, you see who's in it, the music. A lot of times, depending on what show it is, I'll fast forward it. Depends.
Yeah.
I don't on this one because I love the music, and it's just,
Mhm.
it feels good. And so I watch as everything goes on. And the executive producers, it always has Robert Redford's name and George R. Martin. And we had talked about how last season they were both in the jail cell playing chess, and what a good scene that was. But since then, Robert Redford has passed away. And so it caught my eye that his name was at the beginning, but I loved at the very end it said in memory of Robert
Mhm.
Redford, which I
Yeah.
thought was such a sweet thing to
Mhm.
do, and it should have been done, and it was. So I appreciate that. But one other thing I wanted to bring up was The bubble gum. Now, I heard this, mind you. So, unfortunately, I'm not, it wasn't me bringing up this thoughtful idea, but someone had said that bubble gum is probably going to come back into play by the end, that Chekhov's gun thing, right? Like you
Yeah.
introduce something and we'll see when it comes back. But I thought it was funny that they picked up on that bubble gum that
Yeah.
Billy asked for when she was asking for the map. So, yeah, I just thought. So, is there anything else that you saw that you wanted to bring up?
Nah, I can't think of anything no, I don't think so.
Just that assassin woman is all over the place. And I hear, and maybe I'm speaking too soon here, but I hear that she's going to have I don't know if it's an infatuation, obsession, or interest in Joe.
Oh, wow.
I don't mean that romantically or anything. I mean, who knows?
No,
But
yeah.
just something between them two. And I don't know what that is. So we'll see. We'll see what that means. All right. We are going to do some rapid fire. So, Renee, I have 3 questions for you, and you're going to give me your gut reaction. Friends out there, please play along with us and see what your answers are, too. So, the very first one, what is one word to describe Leaphorn this season?
Determined.
That's a good one. And I have my face like this because I don't know what I'm going to say. That's a good one. Ooh, this is a hard one. I'm going to say grief. I feel like he's still in grief. I don't know. That's the first one. I know that there's better words, but that's the one that comes to mind. All right. What surprised you most in this episode?
Joe, the announcement of his retirement. That I just wasn't expecting that. I don't know. There's a lot of things that were shocking, I guess, but that was just like the first thing. I was like, what?
We're going to talk a little bit more about that when we get back to our question of the day, but that is a good one. And I think what surprised me the most was, first I was going to say Linda Hamilton being all of a sudden being the surprise role, because it was such a small role for her, but she did it. And I thought that was great. But I'm actually going to say I was surprised that by the treatment of this St. Catherine's, the way that they treat these women. I was like shocked, surprised that it still exists, especially with Bern experiencing the same thing. And she works in that community and it's still going on. That just, it like hurts. It hurts me for them, for all those girls that are there. And how the police station all clapped when they're like, "Oh, she ran away," instead of being like, "Oh no, the poor girl, we gotta go find her." It's, "Oh yay, she got out." It's holy crap, awful. So I think I was really surprised to learn that and that they've talking about it.
Yeah. I feel like wasn't a Taylor Sheridan series that recently they touched on that also.
Yes.
That was because that was way more in depth and that was horrible. What was that?
It was 1923, and I love that.
Yes.
But that was even more back in time, right? This is 1970s.
Right. So it's like still yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. Was like that was a span of time. And and that was brutal watching that. That was tough to watch.
50 years, I guess. And still things are, of course, have things changed still? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. So, it was tough. Okay. What are you most looking forward to this season?
Figuring out what's going on with Billy. I'm just really intrigued by this whole thing. No one's murdered yet. No, I guess they were, the cook and the waitress, but I just mean like the people we're looking at, and stuff. So there's not been a murder they got to solve. There's not a missing person they got to solve. It's this weird everything else going on in this hit woman. So I'm really intrigued by that whole storyline.
I am too. And that is a really good one. So besides that one, what am I most looking forward to? Seeing Emma and Joe get back together or whatever that happens. I'm hoping that they can get through this or have some sort of resolution for both of them where they're still whole and okay with it, even if I don't want them not to be together, but I hope that they can work their way through it one way or another. All right, let's get back to our question of the day. So, do you think Leaphorn is truly ready to walk away from this role?
No. I think his motivation is Emma, pleasing her, doing whatever he has to do to make that right, which is that's an honorable thing to try to make your marriage work whichever way you got to do it. But it, I think maybe he feels if he goes near where she's at and she sees these changes he's been implementing in his life, that everything will be, right and
Yeah.
things. And so I just feel like that's false hope on his part, because I don't think that's going to be what gets them back together. I want them to be back together, but I don't think that is. But then I also, on the other side, I feel like there's more to this.
Yeah.
We were only told this little
Right.
bit. There's more to his
Yeah.
decision. But yeah, I don't think this is what he really wants to do.
I say no also. And
Mhm.
of course he wants peace. Of course he wants
Mhm.
healing. But his identity is so tied to this position. It's like, how do you
Mhm.
walk away from that? But I think also that he's thinking, well, did this position make me do what I needed to do? Maybe I need to
Mhm.
go away and have a clear head and move on to the next thing. Maybe I need to spend more time with my wife, because she
Mhm.
did keep telling him like this job is really taking over. Because I
Mhm.
think that what happened with between BJ Vines and Joe was the straw that broke the camel's back. It
Mhm.
wasn't entirely it, because she was on him about stepping away, moving away. And so maybe he's just, maybe I need to do this to get my wife back. And maybe I need to do this to clear my head. I love that his mother tells him, got to do this for yourself, not for anybody else. And when you do it for yourself, she's going to see it. And that's what's going to happen. I think his
Yeah.
mother's absolutely right when it comes to that. He may want to retire, but emotionally and spiritually, it won't be easy for him to fully walk away from this. And we don't want him to, because we need some
Yeah.
more.
No.
We need some more Joe Leaphorn, more stories. All right, friends out there, what do you think? Do you think Joe's ready to walk away from this role? We want to hear from you. Or if you have questions to any of our rapid fire or about this whole episode, anything you want to share with us, put it in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening, you can go to any of our social media and you get to all of that at screensinfocus.com. You can go to our social media, click there and leave us an answer. Or if you want to call us and leave us a message, because we would love that and we'll talk about it on our next episode, you can reach us at 669-223-8542, and that number is also in our show notes. All right. This is a wrap up of a really good season premiere. So it was just so good. And Renee, wow, I loved all your insight on this. So I can't wait to break down episode 2. So everyone come back, but don't leave yet, because we do have TV and movie recommendations for you. So Renee, what have you been watching?
I've been watching a lot of TV series, a lot of thrillers and things like that. But was it just last night? I think it was just last night. My husband and I started watching this older series. It's on Netflix now, and it's called, I always want to say it wrong, Suburgatory. So it's like suburban and purgatory. And it originally aired on ABC, like I think it was 12 years ago.
Oh.
And Jeremy Sisto is like the main character. He plays the dad, and him and his daughter live in New York City. Something happens, then they move to the suburbs. And so it's just their whole interaction. And it, like, seriously, we just laughed. I don't know if we were just tired and in a silly mood or what, but we laughed and laughed and laughed at this thing. We watched a couple episodes, but it was just so good. And I'm like, how did I not know about this that long ago? Whatever. But anyway, it's on Netflix. I loved it. We had a blast watching it. I'm also watching Memory of a Killer with Patrick Dempsey. So he is a hitman, and he's starting to get early onset dementia, or I can't remember if it's dementia or whatever. And it's a little bit of a slow burn, which sometimes turns me off, but it's exciting enough. And Michael Imperelli, is that how you
Oh,
say his
yes,
name?
yes. Uh-huh.
As
Yeah.
well, and he's got a very good role, him and Patrick Dempsey back and forth thing. But yeah, I keep coming back to watch the next episode, so I can't wait to see what happens and things. But it's a very interesting take on this and what he's experiencing. Yeah, and then I saw another old one. I've never watched Veronica Mars, and it's on Netflix now. And so I just started watching it. I'm like, it's a fun show. It's interesting. She's trying to solve crimes. Her dad's a PI and whatever, and so she always is trying to like mess in his business and do stuff. But yeah, it's been really good. I've enjoyed it. And then the other old thing I watched, Netflix got all of the Night of the Museum movies. I had never watched the third one, evidently. I thought I had not. So I watched all three of them. So everything but Memory of a Killer are old things that I'm watching, but they're really good. So I recommend them.
Yeah. I don't even remember Night of the Museum if the third one. I probably watched it, but I'm not sure either. I don't remember. But yes, and Memory of a Killer, I watched I think one episode so far, and it's good. Like I'm curious to see. I have to press play on the next one, so
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see that. I wanted to bring up Cold Water. Did you watch this, Renee?
I watched the first episode and I just didn't care for it. I love Andrew Lincoln, but it was just real flat to me. I don't know if I was just in a mood or I just didn't continue.
So I watched this first episode and I made myself sit through it and watch the next one. I didn't want to. I was like kicking and screaming because I could not take watching Andrew Lincoln be this way. It hurt me like so hard. Ugh, it was like, I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. It hurt me so hard. I'm like, no, this is not Rick Grimes. What are you doing? It's the opposite. But I forced myself. I watched the next one. And when I got to the second one, I'm like, okay, I got to keep watching this. It is very bizarre and it feels very like limited budget when they did it. But yeah. I had to keep watching it. There was only 6 episodes. I'm not going to tell you what happened, but I was like, what's going to happen? But yeah, I stuck it through and I'm glad I did. It was interesting to see.
Well, maybe I'll revisit it.
It's not some life shattering, you've got to watch it, but I had to watch it because Andrew Lincoln was in it. I'm like, you know what? I need to watch it. And so it was, once you get past what type of series it feels like, you need to know Andrew Lincoln's character and just accept it and move on. And then knowing that they have a really weird, creepy, odd neighbor. And then you can keep going. So anyway, I did, the season finale was just last week. So I finished it. Lincoln Lawyer, out on Netflix, season 4. This series is so good. I highly recommend it. Ooh, it's of course based on the books and on the movie. And I actually put out a TikTok on it and I got so many responses. People really love this series, like really love it. Like, I don't think I heard one person say they didn't love this series. Yeah. So it's a lot of people love it. So check that out. It's really good. Love is Blind season 10. I can't believe I'm still watching this show, but I am, and I binged it. So there you go. And Renee, I'm only bringing this one up because I wanted to catch up with you to see what you thought of His and Hers on Netflix with John Bernthal.
Loved it. I was like, I told my mom to watch it. I told my husband to watch it. And they both were like, they just couldn't believe it. It was so freaking good. But I'll watch anything with John Bernthal. But it was so good. I loved it so much. And it was, you thought things were done and they weren't done,
Whoa.
And yeah, it was, I know. Yeah. And I had been looking forward to it. I remember when it first was announced, I was like, oh gosh, this sounds really interesting, that kind of thing. And that's the type, I've just been watching all these thrillers and like, after you watch a lot of them, it takes a lot to impress you. So if you watch another one, it's like not very good. You're like, this isn't even any good. It could be fine, but it's just, you watch these really good ones, you know? So that one like jumped to the top of my list of, oh my gosh, this is so good. Yeah. So I did. What did you like
I loved it. It was a great series. It was a lot of fun. It was so many twists and turns. And then at the very end, they gave you another twist without giving too much away. It's just really well done. It's a mystery. A murder happens at the very beginning and then it goes about solving it. Really well done if you haven't seen that. But I do want to mention 2 movies. One is a rewatch, and that is Predator Badlands. It's out on Hulu. I saw it at the theaters. It's out on Hulu. You know what? It's a good watch. I'm not the biggest Predator fan, but out of all of them, this one really, I think, because it's more emotional than the others. So it's very watchable. So it's a fun thing to watch. But I went and watched Wuthering Heights. And I know that there's people that love it and there's people that hate it, but I bawled like a baby because that's me. And it just gripped me. And I went with my two of my son's girlfriends, and one of my sons went. So there's four of us, but I was the only one bawling. I don't know. There's something about emotional history. And what I mean by that is when you're kids and you bond with somebody and you love somebody, and then you grow up and you have trauma and you live through that and you keep going, and you're so obsessed and love someone. Seeing that just sticks with me. I think that's why Stranger Things sticks with me. I think that's why Cobra Kai sticks with me, because it's history of when they were young. It's why The Walking Dead and those characters have been together for so long. So there's something about history and trauma and when you're young and aging and love and all of that. I recommend it, but it is not for everybody. But I loved seeing Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. All right. That's a wrap up of Dark Wind Season 4, Episode 1, the premiere, and our TV and movie recommendations. I want to thank Renee for joining me today. Thank you, Renee.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for asking. I was so excited when you're like, hey, you want to do it? Yes, I want to do this.
I'm so glad you said yes. Locked you in for the season. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Friends, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate you. And please share this podcast with a friend. Remember to subscribe to Screens in Focus at screensinfocus.com. Keep watching, keep exploring, and keep those screens in focus. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.